Thank you very much. Chris Uhlmann, let me pull you back in. We are very inside the bubble today in Parliament House, even more so than usual because we've been in the budget lockup for most of the day. Can you help give us a sense of what Australians who aren't immersed in every last detail might think of this budget?
Well, maybe I can't, Lee, but I do think I know some people who might be able to, the people who are most in touch with ordinary people because their lives literally do depend on it, are marginal seat holders, and in 60 days' time from now they will be going to the polls, holding on to, as I said, very slim margins. So to talk us through how they see this budget, we're joined by a couple of those marginal seat holders. One of them is David Coleman from Banks and Lisa Chesters from Bendigo. Welcome to you both.
Good to be here.
So, Lisa Chesters, I assume that people aren't necessarily tuned in Bendigo to every word that's in this budget, but if they're looking at it, what are the people in your electorate likely to take away from it?
What they're already saying, because we had the budget leaks that came beforehand, is I can't believe I miss out. So Bendigo electorate is like many electorates. We don't have a lot of people that earn over $80,000 a year. In fact, 85% of the electorate is on less than $75,000 a year. So what the Prime Minister did tonight was confirm that they don't get a tax cut. They miss out in this budget. This government's not really interested in lowering their household bills. Is not really interested in supporting them and providing them any relief in their household budgets.
What about the program like the Pathways program, which looks at getting more young people into the workforce? What do you think of that?
With a lot of the programs this government have announced, the devil is always in the detail. So let's wait and see. If it's like the current Work for the Dole program, there'll be lots of complaints that come through. We've already heard from a lot of people in Work for the Dole that there's no safety regime in place. So people are going to work but not treated like workers. So when it comes to that program, I'm keen to see the detail because I'm not sure the government knows really what to do to help young job seekers.
All right, well, let's go from central Victoria to the northern side of the Georges...
northern
side of the Georges River. Northern side of the Georges River to the seat of Banks. Very different electorate too, very ethnically mixed. What do people in Banks take away from this budget?
Well, Chris, I think the overwhelming concern of people in my electorate, and I suspect in many other electorates, is the economy and economic growth and the jobs of the future. Because in suburban Sydney, as in many other parts of Australia, there's an economic transition occurring. More people working in services industries and so on. More people working in high-tech industries, and people want to know what the government's doing about that and how we're planning for that. And so, I have more than 10,000 small to medium sized businesses in my electorate. I'm sure they'll welcome the tax reductions that have been announced in tonight's budget. They employ tens of thousands of people in my electorate, and I think that it'll be very welcome.
But then average incomes in your electorate over $80,000. Not many people in that category.
Well, I think, Chris, everyone benefits from economic growth, and obviously as the economy grows, there's more jobs and more opportunities, and the investment here in encouraging businesses to grow is particularly important, and as indeed is ensuring that people who are on average full-time wages of $80,000 don't go into the second highest tax bracket.
Lisa Chesters, do people get that message, economic growth, and that means more jobs and this is good for them in the long run?
Look, this is just government spin. Like today, learning that the definition of small business will increase to $1 billion turnover. Like there aren't too many small businesses in Bendigo that have a turnover of $1 billion. Like that's just a bit of a joke, isn't it?
Well, Lisa, what we're saying here is we're going to start targeted tax relief at the smaller end of the spectrum, but what we're doing is immediately businesses with up to $10 million of turnover, which is a lot of small and medium-sized businesses, will see immediate tax relief, and over time the number of businesses who will see tax relief will increase, and that's good because the more businesses that have tax release, the more they can reinvest in new products and services, the more they can compete and the more people they'll employ.
Well, that's just not a given either. Like all we've got tonight is a tax cut for businesses. There's no guarantee that they'll actually employ extra people. And Australians are going to get that. People in regional areas are going to get that. Most of the small businesses in my part of the world, a mum and dad own a corner store or might have a small trades business. Sarah out at Strathfield Say has a small engineering business with 10 employees. There's no way her turnover is going to get anywhere near the government's defining a small business.
Well, no, I think that's a very important point of contrast. I mean, we very strongly believe that small businesses with less than $10 million of turnover, some might might have $1 million or less of turnover do deserve tax relief, because we want them to help grow jobs, and they're the backbone of the economy in my electorate.
Well, David Coleman, Lisa Chesters, will have to leave it there. I should say, Lee, that people don't understand how hard marginal seat holders in Parliament actually have to work. They'll be out every day, every weekend, have been for the last 3 years, will be for the next 60 days. So you might not spare a lot of thought for politicians. You could spare a thought for these two panellists.
They really do, and all the people who come up to them and complain about the state of the local
Whinge.
road or things, and you can't
It's always
say...
local government stuff. It's usually the bins.
That's right, and you can't say anything about it, can you?
And it's going to be very cold in
Very
Bendigo,
cold in
by the way.
Bendigo.
Oh, my heart goes out to
Oh,
it. Chris, you know, with the budget, the couple of days after are very, very important, I assume, because a lot of people will just sort of take some headlines from this and get their sort of take on it from the, you know, minute 30 packages on the evening television news.
That's right. Look, people, I think, in politics, or people who are watching politics outside this place, don't go on them on news show. They see the headlines, they see flashcards, and every now and then they get a flashcard that tells them something that gives them a sense of what a government's like. I think the best example of that in the last few years will certainly be the flashcard they got on Knights and Dames with Tony Abbott, and that was a flashcard that essentially said, stop, you're going the wrong way. So what people take out of this budget, well, it will be in part, it will be interpreted by what they're seeing in the media over the next couple of days. But now, given the way that the media has changed, well, you know, you're going to be seeing a lot of people sharing things on Facebook, so there's a lot of social media involved in this, Lee.
Yes, indeed. Thanks, Chris. We'll be back with you shortly.